Today we're going to be getting a look at the top 10 strongest players in Rise of Kingdoms because recently there was a big change. 2 more players just crossed the 2 billion power threshold. So we're going to start this video with the highest power player in my kingdom right now, and we'll escalate all the way up to those 2. That's right, 2 of them. 2 billion power players. Now, the genesis of this list actually comes from the official Rise of Kingdoms list. So normally we go through and it's sort of difficult to figure out which players still are active and maybe which players are no longer still playing the game. So the beauty of this is that this is the top 10 by power still playing the game, and already there's some changes since the official list was launched earlier this month. Now, I do want to give a big thank you to the makers of Rise of Kingdoms for sponsoring today's video, and let's get after it. First up, I just want to show you Fluffy Pony, strongest player by power in my kingdom at 415 million power. He actually peaked at 824 million power, but he goes all out every single KVK, drops a ridiculous amount of troops, and the number of troops he has just goes down and down and down and down. So he used to be in the top 10 list, but no more. Now we get to the top 10. And the first player we're going to go get a look at is one that you actually are very familiar with. You've seen him many times before, featured on this channel. He's in 1846. He's been in 1846 forever, and that is Mocote. If we get a look here at 1846, I'll go find his account, be right back. At the time the official Rise of Kingdoms list was made, he was sitting at 663 million power, but no more. He just fought in KVK. He's at 378 million power right now. He'll get half his troops back, but when he does, I don't know if he'll still be in the top 10, which is kind of crazy, but Mocote has been a staple in the Rise of Kingdoms community. He retrains his power. He peaked at 750 mil. He's got 431 million dead D5s, which is insane. That is, I mean, I assume they're T5s, right? And 54 billion kill points, by the way, almost 55 billion kill points. So Mocote has been a titan in Rise of Kingdoms for a very long time, and I suspect he will continue to be a titan in Rise of Kingdoms for a very long time. Even if he falls out of that top 10, it's really not about how much power you have, it's about how much power you use and lose. And that dead troop count number is a big deal. Now, this next player on the list, I don't think they were even on my radar, which is why it's cool that the official Rise of Kingdoms team is putting out a list of the highest power players. At the time that they recorded the list, he was number 9 at 679 million power. Since that time, he's gained about 10 million power. He's at 688 million power. He's got almost 12 billion kill points. So that's kind of a lower number, but maybe this is a younger account. Let's get a look here at the additional information. They've got 56 million dead troops. So like Mocote has 400 million more dead troops, just for perspective. And they've, again, got that 12 billion kill point number. So this is an account you'd like to see go into some really crazy KVKs and drop some power, pick up a ton of KP. And if we get a look at their pictures real quick, what are they sharing with us here? They've got one picture here where they are, I mean, look, that is a pretty big score in the Eve of the Crusade. All right, 542 million points. Chi-chi. Number 8 on the list is BT Cyborg, who I actually had the opportunity to play with in the past. He's sitting at 791 million power with 35 billion kill points. If we get a look at his overall stats here, 212 million dead troops, highest power of 836 million. He is actually closing in on his highest power number here. And if we get a look at his pictures, what does he have to show us here? We've got some love for Captain America here. All right, bet. I mean, a big fan of Marvel. Not going to say no to it. A little bit of Superman going on. Jedi stuff. I mean, you know, I like those shows. All right, let's get a look at number 7. Currently sitting at 533 million power, they were number 7 on the official Rise of Kingdoms list that launched earlier this month. They dropped power fighting in KVK against 1093. They're at almost 21 billion kill points, and if we get a look at their stats here, 139 million dead troops, man. GG. Peak power, 764 million. Now, they're in 1960, so there's some pretty big expectations, I would assume, to be dropping power every KVK. So they've got to be doing a lot of training to be maintaining that power. We get a look at their pictures here. Man, this must be a picture of them on their private jet with their Doge, their race car. I wonder what this person does. Every now and then, it's like, man, people just live a different life. Is this them? Are they a race car driver? I don't know, man. Yeah, no. The finer things in life, I suppose. Cars, planes, and find things to drink. Let's get a look at number 5 and 6. Number 6 hails from 1175, and it's the perfume of Mimi. And the crazy thing is that she's actually got 2 accounts. This one is just over 1 billion power at 1.025 billion, almost 31 billion kill points, and they've got 176 million dead troops. GG. We get a look at their pictures over here, and I believe she is an influencer, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, we've actually seen these pictures before. I bet if they took an updated picture of these accessories, they look quite different here. Little Sundok cosplay going on. Man. Let's go look at her other account, by the way, in the same kingdom, which is insane. 2 people with accounts over 1 billion power. If only there were another kingdom that had that. Oh, wait, we'll get there. 1.036 billion power, 28 billion kill points, and dead troop count, 135. All right. Now, again, this really puts into perspective Mocote's 30 million dead troops or whatever that he had. It's crazy. 28.3 billion kill points on this account. I mean, these are very powerful accounts. If you thought running around with 7 marches in the open field was kind of cool, what if you had 14 marches and you could multi-box and you were actually good at it? GG. So there you go. Perfume of Mimi and also Flower of Mimi in 1175. This account, both of them are absolutely stacked. This brings us to the number 4 on the list, who hails from 2429. So that's 2 players in 2429 that are on this list. And it's actually kind of funny. Like, several of these kingdoms have multiple of the strongest players by power. Baba's at 1.245 billion power, almost 64 billion kill points is crazy. And the dead troop count of 306. Hey, yo, big dead troop count over here. That is wild, man. Highest power was 1.3. So Baba's kind of closing in on that, but like, we're still talking about 55 million power away. So yeah, this account has an incredible amount of punch. I've actually met Baba in person, which was really cool. We met at the Cologne, Germany meetup for Rise of Kingdoms. And also I went to the meetup for Call of Dragons when I was there, which is pretty cool. Baba is larger than life. I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. It was fun hanging out with him. Hope to have the opportunity to do that again in the future. Let's go look at number 3 on the list, who was number 1, but he's been displaced. You may recall Ekremabi, who has an incredibly young account in Rise of Kingdoms, when he trained up to 2 billion power and became the single highest power player in the game. He's currently number 3, and just earlier this month, he was number 1 on the list. But he has dropped some power here. He's at 1.77 billion power. He's got 7.2 billion kill points. Like I said, young account, almost 71 million dead troops here. So he's obviously got a lot of KVKs to play to kind of start to catch up to the other accounts that are much older. But hey, yo, with 1.7 billion power, he's obviously got a lot of work he can do with this account. Super powerful. And also, I did an interview with Ekremabi. I'll have a card up in the top and in the end screen. All right. I don't check my private messages because I'm busy. Bro, let me tell you something. I get messages all the time from people who are like, hey, like how am I supposed to respond to that? Like, I don't have time. And he doesn't have time. And if you ever want to contact someone who's a busy human, you can't just be like, hi, how are you? What's good? Like, you need to roll up in a single sentence with whatever it is you're trying to do to engage that person in a conversation, right? So like, even if you have a question, if you can phrase that question in less than a sentence or as much as a sentence, you might get an answer, right? So for example, should I max Guan Yu now or wait for the new commanders to come out? And like, that gives me the opportunity to answer your question with like a single word and like, boom. And then a busy person can go through and like actually answer those questions. But when people ask like complicated questions, blah, 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 I don't know, I might sound like an asshole when I'm describing this, but like, I'm trying to help you out. If you want to actually have a conversation with a busy person, like deliver them value and be concise, and maybe you can open a conversation with someone who's busy. TLDR. But let's go to number 2 and number 1. All right. And number 2 and number 1 are a father-son duo. I've actually been in a kingdom with them as well. It's actually shocking. I've been in a kingdom with a bunch of these folks that are in the list here. They're in 2377. They were number 2 and number 3. They now are number 1 and number 2. Okay. And you know this father-son duo. Okay. It's Wild Lion and MrHope. And what is there to say, man? They pushed a ton of power just recently, crossing over the 2 billion threshold. That's right. There are 2 players in 2377, and both of them are over 2 billion power. That means 4 billion power is coming from these 2 players. So when I was like, oh man, it's really crazy to have, you know, Perfume of Mimi and Flower of Mimi, 2 players over 1 billion power in the same kingdom. How about 2 players over 2 billion power in the same kingdom? So we can scroll through this list and find them. And I do really wish these lists were like organized when you go to look at them. Like they could be organized by power. That'd be kind of nice. But if we scroll on down here, I assume they're in the main alliance. Can you imagine if they're not in the main alliance and this alliance is still like as high power as it is? Oh my God, dude, it like compresses the power number. It's like too big. But here's Wild Lion. I'll have to scroll back up. I probably passed MrHope. 23.7 billion kill points. So this is also a middle-aged account. Like it's not a young account. It's not a super old account either. And if we get a look at their stats here, 175 million dead. Okay, so with 2 billion power, they obviously can do an astonishing amount of damage in a single KVK if they've got the time to go and do it. It's a little bit tricky to fill a garrison, but with like the 2 of them sitting next to a garrison and other people being the captains, like they can just rotate through a garrison in a way that is just absolutely insane. And I believe they are Russian for whatever that's worth. Here's a picture of their Hall of Heroes here with like, it's a 51 million dead troops. Yo, that's pretty good. Couple KVKs like that, and like you get that dead troop count hooking up real fast. So they obviously are looking to get into really high octane KVKs. I think for very obvious reasons. 2377 is a solid kingdom for them to go and do that in. And I believe that Addy, in fact, I know that Addy recently had migrated over here. I actually started talking with them, but too late. Their migration window had already closed. So I was considering sort of having a conversation with them to say like, hey, maybe I drop in for a bit, do a KVK, but I kind of missed the window there. Here's MrHope. All right, there we go. So MrHope is just over 2 billion power, 25 billion kill points, 169, almost 170 million dead troops. And up top, here's the Hall of Heroes screenshot. I mean, the father-son duo, they have like very similar stats. Almost 52. I don't think this is the same screenshot. I think they're very close, though, in terms of the number of dead troops. I'd have to look more closely. I wasn't looking all that close. I keep forgetting to heart all these pictures when I go look at them, but whatever. There we go, folks. The top 10 players by power, according to the makers of Rise of Kingdoms. And this is an update from their list, which was, what, not even like weeks ago that they launched that list. And here we are with a huge change with 2 players now over 2 billion power. GG. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next time we do an update. There are obviously some really high power players that weren't on the list because their accounts, I assume, are inactive. For example, Mephisto, Yoda, you've got Maverick, who used to be on this list. So I don't think these players are active anymore. I think they must have gone 30 plus days inactive, which is crazy. But if you want to see my interview with Ekremabi, check the card in the end screen. Be right over here in just a second. I think you'll enjoy that one. Really, really appreciate the opportunity he gave me to chat with him. Enjoy the video.